Class.
Thanks, Felicia. Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome to our last class of 2023. I can't believe it's been a whole year already. I don't know how these things happen. I feel like it's still April. I was saying last class, like I'm still in spring, so I don't, but here we are. And I've got a really fun classic, just design inspiration. Use any beads you have. It's classic pearl knotting with a spin. And it's a really easy way to put a beautiful pearl necklace together, but also try it with gemstones, try it with our crystal. There's lots of great things that you can make this work with. I'm just gonna hit my button here. And one of the cool things about this design is that it enables you to mix up things. So like if you have some strands of pearls you want to put with some gemstones, you can put anything together. It just lets you get super creative and gives you a medium that's really flexible for that. So I'm going to show you how these were made. I've got a couple designs on the mat that have they've been knotted in a classic looking way, and they are, I mean, they came out, thanks Felicia, they came out so cool. I love the way that the different size pearls look on this one. On this one, I experimented with ombre, just ombreing a bunch of different glass pearls. And then one question I got was, hey, can I use real pearls? Because these are both glass pearls that I used here. And so I'm going to show you how to test your cord to see if things will fit. And these pearls worked really well. These are a real freshwater pearl. So I'm going to demo with these today because I'm excited to see how this one comes out with the cool shapes. But yeah, any pearls you have, any gemstone beads you have, just, I'm going to show you here how to test it and then just go to town doing your knotting. So some of the stuff you'll need, let me just move these out of the way for a minute. You'll want to start with the cord itself. And there are three colors. I'm holding the natural color right now. And this is a waxed polyester. And it's a really unique medium. Traditional pearl knotting you've probably seen before done with silk that comes on the card with the little needle. This is going to be a little different method than that, but it is going to have a similar look when it's finished. So I would say today I'm going to work with black today, but there's also the color I'm holding, which out of the plastic looks like that. And then there's also white. And you can get these right on the wall. Just it's in the same area in Michael's where you see the tooling, and it's next to the needles. So I'm going to show you the needles next. You're going to want to grab a package of either like flexible or collapsible eye needles. And so the ones that I have with me right now look like this. And you see how they have a little collapsible end, and then the thread just tucks right into that. So that's the needle I'll be using. And then you'll want to grab some clamshells. And there's other ways to end these, but this is by far the easiest way to do it. And you get a bunch of them, and you can just go ahead and tuck your knot end into that to start and to finish. And then last but not least, I've got some tweezers. Now, if tweezers are new to you, or you don't want to use tweezers for this method, you can also use a fine chain nose. And I've actually seen on the tool wall, they're called knotting tweezers. I saw those in Michael's when I was last there, but you could also just use a fine point chain nose. Let me see if I can find mine. So something like this would work fine too. And as we get going, maybe I'll just demo a couple different ways. Some folks also like to use a beading awl. That also would work. Okay, so, and then when we get to the end, I'm gonna just throw a clasp and some jump rings. So I've just got a collection of things out here. I've got our 18 karat gold clasp line, some jump rings in different sizes, and also this is an optional thing, but on the end of this one, I used one of these bail pins. These are really cool. You just glue it in. We've done a class before where we actually glued a gemstone rondelle onto the end, but here I just used one of the glass pearls. And that was a really cool looking accent. You can see it's really just a pearl there. And I just glued the pin end into it and then just popped a jump ring on there after it was dry. And it makes a nice little weight, and it just kind of elevates your design. So that's everything with the exception of some scissors for cutting your thread that you will need for this project. Okay, so I've already got my needle out. I've got my beads ready. I've got my tweezers. And I'm going to grab, for this design, one of the things that I was going to suggest for you to do is decide how long you'd like your bracelet or necklace or whatever you're making to be. Measure double that length and then add about 10 inches or so. And that gives you, you want to have a little extra because you're going to want to have enough to maneuver your knots. And so just double it, right? You're going to want to go to, let's see, the length that I want is about, so 14. So that's a 7-inch bracelet times 2, and I'm going to double that. And it's going to consume all of your length when you start doing all these knots. And so this is kind of a generous measure here. So from that, I'm going to add another 10. And that way I just know for sure I'm not going to run out. It's probably a little bit more than I need, but I'm confident that it's going to work. And so the first thing you want to do is bring your ends together. Find your midpoint. And then I'm going to grab my needle here. These needles are cool. They last a long time. I've been using this one a while. And I'm just bringing one end through. So just one, and then I'm just going to bring those ends together again. The goal is we just want to get this needle to sit at the midpoint all the way down the strand here. And it's going to try to lock on you. See how it kind of, once it slides into that little end, it'll lock. So just move it into the center and just bring it down. You might have to keep doing that as you go. And just keep holding those ends. A little bit further for me here. All right, and that should do it. So we've got two, we're working with a doubled strand. And so here at this end, it's going to trim that. I didn't quite get my midpoint, so let's just trim that really quick. And we're just going to tie an overhand knot. So to do an overhand knot, let me go really slow on this one. Okay, so you've got your two ends, and then just go ahead and cross it over itself like that, or in this case, I brought the ends under it. Both will work, but under just felt like it worked better for me. And then just pinch that spot where you brought it underneath. Bring those tails through the loop and hold them. And then just maneuver your knot towards the end. And so that's all you got to do there. And let's get a clamshell. And I believe these come in other finishes as well. They also come in some of the precious metals, if I remember correctly. This is a pack I've had a while. I've been using this one for a long time. And I grabbed a second one because we're going to need that at the end. Set that aside. Here's our first one. So when you're starting out, just go through the Pac-Man side. So the Pac-Man side is this way. You want your knot to hide inside of there. And at the very end, and actually, I apologize, I didn't show this at the beginning when I was introducing materials, but it's on the parts list for the design. But I'm using a little bit of glue here. You can do that now if you want, and the glue will dry as you're working, or you can just do it at the end. So I'll do it at the end together with the finishing knot, and then we'll trim it. So for now, just leave your tail in its place. All right, so now all we got to do is get our first bead. So got my bead ready, and I think I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna string them kind of, because these have kind of like a little pointy side on some of the pearls. So I'm gonna go with that. And just settle it right there. Right up behind the clamshell there. And Wanda's saying she loves clamshells. Yeah, I love them. And I know the ones you're referring to with the hooks, those are cool too. Or the loop instead of the hook. All of those will work for this design. Those are all really good options. And so I'm going to do this a bunch of times, so don't worry if it seems like if you don't catch it right away. This is just an overhand knot, and I'm going to use the tweezers to help guide where the knot sits. And so it's just, you're going to go over your fingers like that. and cross. And then just pinch that. And then reach through your loop here and bring that strand all the way through it. So essentially what we did is we just started to make the loop of a knot. And then you're going to use your your tweezers, or excuse me, I'll show some chain nose pliers also. But for now, I'm just using some fine tweezers. I'm going to go through the loop here and then just pinch the cord right on top of your pearl. So all we're doing is we're just going through that loop and then just pinching it right there. So when you pull, it's going to bring your knot right down on top of the pearl there. And the fact that it's doubled gives us a knot that is larger than the whole of the pearl once you get it all knotted. So I pulled out the tweezers, and right before I continue on, I'm just going to pull this apart. Just gently. You don't want to go with it, too tight, but because you kind of want it to have some flow to it. But there's one knot. All right, and so here's another pearl. Bring that down. I just love the look of a knotted pearl. It's just really pretty design. And so once again, here's that knot. I use 3 fingers because it's just a lot easier to get your loop through after that. So just bring it over 3 and then cross. Pinch that spot where you crossed. Reach through the loop and just bring the cord through it. And you want to bring your tweezers through that loop and pinch the top of that pearl. So you're just making the loop of a knot and just pinching the cords, both cords, right above your bead. And so when you pull, it just brings that knot right where you want it. And all you got to do from there is pull those tweezers out, pull them apart. And then I have this thing that I do at the end where I grab this tail and I pull like that. And this keeps, as you get going, let me show you on another design. As you get going, you want it to move and flow, right? And so this motion here, after you've done a knot, it corrects what we did when we were tightening the knot down. And then just brings it all back and gets the tension exactly perfect. So it's something that it adds a little step every time, but I think it's really worth doing. So let's do one more, and then we'll grab some chain nose pliers and show that too. Here's our next pearl. And again, just going to go around my fingers all the way. Oops, sorry about that. Everyone's going to be seasick. I'm hitting the camera. And then I'm just going to bring this end through the loop. And then just pinch like that. Pull tight. Pull this apart. And you see how it has that whisper of a little bend to it? That's one of the reasons I like doing that. This works with mallas too. If you've ever done a malla knotting, it's like the same. And now it's not doing that anymore. So every time we add, we'll do that. You grab my chain nose pliers. And those are these here. So just in case anyone's working without a pair of tweezers, you don't need them. You can use, I think it might be, it'll raise your knot up a tiny bit, but it's not going to make a big difference. So here comes our new pearl. Bring it down. And then again, we're just going to cross over 3 fingers, pinch the spot where you crossed your thread, and then just reach through your loop, grab the end, pull it all the way through. And this time I'm going to bring the chain nose pliers through the loop, and then just pinch right above the bead. And pull tight. And then when I remove this, I'm going to just pull these apart really quick. And then tighten it just like that. So chain nose pliers also will work for you. Okay, so let's just keep going. This is a pretty relaxing project because it's the same thing over and over. You don't have to think that much about it. And with pearls this big, I think we can get a whole bracelet done.
Danielle?
Crossin', yeah.
This is a good time for me to ask you 2 questions.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
Number 1, our friend Maria, uh, sh her clamshell, the thread just went through the clamshell. Sorry,
Oh,
not the clamshell. You know what I mean? So I was saying she could just make a little knot with the 2 threads and fill it up again.
oh yeah. If she's already past the spot where she's added a pearl and knotted it and it came through, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Just take those ends and tie another knot like that. Let's do it
Yes.
here. It might be tricky if they're short like mine, but
Yep. But
that's
there's
okay.
always a repair.
There's always a repair, yeah. And then also when you're stringing those clamshells, let me show another way you can make a bigger knot. Before you do your pearl, when you first string your clamshell, maybe we pull on it a little tighter and see if we can get it to come through. So let's see here. Because sometimes you might get one that's just a little bit wider, and we can test for that. So let's grab a little bit more cord. Whoop. Okay. So I'm just going to do a quick little test with one of these other needles. Okay. So let's move this out of the way for just a sec. Here's our clamshell. This isn't a full length. I'm just doing a really short one. Here's those ends together. Okay, and so if I think I'm going to have that happen and I want my knot to be bigger to start, in addition to doing what we just did, so we go through one time, go through one more time. So more like a surgeon's knot. Go through an additional, and that will make the knot just a little bit bigger. And then test it. And also one other suggestion I have for that, if for example, you get to this spot and it's just not working, mine seems really good. I'm pulling pretty hard on that. But if you get to this spot and you're feeling like, gosh, it's just, you know, my knot isn't big enough and my clamshell is not working, one thing you can do here is go ahead before you finish this, go ahead and put your glue on it. And let's get that on there. Just a little bit. That was too much, so I'm gonna just get that off. Okay. Go ahead and bring it down. Get my scissors. Trim right about there. And just finish it now. If you finish it now, once these are closed, the hole is smaller at the bottom. And I'm going to trim that a little better. Let me get some of my flush cutters. Those are in here somewhere. There we go. And if you have a burner, you can burn that. I think I just didn't cut my length short enough. Oh no, there it goes. Actually, that's a lot better. And so the glue is going to glue the knot inside your clamshell. Also, I've seen people put the glue inside the clamshell, and in addition to on their knot, or maybe in place of that, like a little bit of glue inside of it. And then when they close it up, everything settles in. And so you could start your work from this spot here. And that hole is going to be a lot smaller now that it's been closed. Yeah, and then I'm seeing another good tip from Maria. So she's saying she's doubling it because of the that's another thing that can work too. Her pearls are a little bit large for getting the knot to work in that case. And typically working with it doubled is enough, but not always. Not always. Some standard drills are a little bit wider, and so you end up with a little more space than you need inside of that bead. So let's troubleshoot if that happens on a bead. Okay, so you might want to slide the pearl down, and you can do that same thing again. So here's the crossing over, bring it through. And so at this spot, see, we brought the cord through. You could just come over and bring it through again. When we tighten it, it's going to be a little trickier, but again, that's kind of the surgeon's knot thing we have going on there. Tighten there. And then just really make sure it goes down. You might need to separate your cords by pulling one and then the other over your tweezers. And so see how that knot's a little bigger than my others? It'll be more noticeable when I bring my next bead on. Let's see how that made that knot bigger. So let's do that a few more times and you'll be able to see a little difference there. So there's that crossover. Pinch that spot. And then just reach through your loop and grab that whole thing. And then if you want to just do that one more time, bring it over through that loop again. Let's get our tweezers through it. Pinch to the cords there. And then again, we're just going to want to go a little slower here because we've got an extra loop through there. And pull tight. Let's see, you get something like that. So I feel like there's always a way to get, if it's the perfect bead and you just really want to use that bead. A lot of time when we're combining beads, they're going to have different hole diameters. And so it's also very handy to have a trick that can enable you to switch back and forth between different beads as you're going. But yeah, so let's add this one. I'm going to finish this one. And if anyone wants me to go a little slower on the knot, let me know. Uh-oh. I think my Zoom has crashed. Let me try to log back in. Am I still with you guys? You can still hear me? Oh, okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, Danielle, you're fine.
My screen went blank. I've never had that happen before, but I think I'm still here, so we'll keep going.
No, you're good.
Shout at me if I
Danielle,
yeah.
This is a great chance. We do have some new people in the class today, which is fantastic. And so the question, it's hard for them to understand how you're getting the knot to stop where you want it using the tweezer. So if you could just really slow down that
Absolutely.
and explaining how you get that knot exactly where you want it.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and bring on another bead and I'll focus on that spot. So there's our bead. And here's that crossover. Just wrap it around your fingers and cross. Bring that loop, the cord through your loop. All right. And so essentially what we did is we made a knot like this. And let me show it without crossing over my hand. Maybe that will be easier to understand it a little better. So all we really did was this, that, and we just made a loop. And we want this to sit right here. So to do that, we want to bring our tweezers through that loop and tell it right where to go. And so to do that, you just pinch that spot. Because wherever you put this tip of the tweezers or chain nose pliers, that's where this loop is going to travel to. It's going to travel down the cord and it's going to sit right there. And so the knot will just stay right where you want it. And then when you remove your tweezers, you can tighten that knot down, because keep in mind that the tweezers were in the belly of the knot. So this knot isn't totally tightened yet. And if I was to just pull this way now with both cords, the knot would move away from the bead a little bit. So that's why before we do anything else, we just go ahead and pull them apart. And then do the stretchy part. And it ends up just being exactly the right spacing that you want. So let's do that a couple more times. I need a couple more beads to finish my design. So again, that's just crossing over. Let me go through the loop. And then again, there's that that loop we made. We're just bringing the tweezers through it and pinching the spot right above. Oh, did I not put on another bead? I thought I did. Looks like I didn't. Okay, let's get another bead on there. There we go. Our loop. Let's pull those apart and stretch. So let's take a look at my length that I've got. Here off camera, I'm just going to measure it. I need at least one more bead, maybe two. And so there's that bead. Cross over. Bring that through. Wow, working with these big beads, it's an amazing quick design. I'm impressed. All right. And I do have a tape measure, so you guys can see what I'm doing off camera with my measures. My mat below me is actually a... So I'm measuring from this tip right here, and that's the tip of the clamshell. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I have an idea of where my clasp is going to start. So now I'm just a little bit over 6 inches here. So if I want to go to 7 inches, I need to put on one more bead, and then I'll have enough length with the clamshell and the whatever finding I'm going to use. I'm going to use a lobster claw. So let's do one more, and then we'll finish one. And I do have extra beads next to me, so we can even start a new one if you want. Slide that down. And so I decided this is going to be my last bead. And a really great tip that I got from an amazing classic pearl artist. Her name is Janice Parsons. If you guys know her, she's like an inspiration to me on how to do things like this. And she says she never knots next to metal. And so I've always just done that because that's how she taught me. And so I'm going to just bring this through the clamshell. And remember when we started, we were going through the Pac-Man side, so we had it like this, and we were heading that way. Well, if you flip it and go the other way, now our knot will sit on the inside. And so we didn't do a knot above our last bead, and we're just bringing the clamshell down. So it's just going to sit right like that. And so this is the same thing we've been doing. It's going to look different in a clamshell from what we did with the beads in between each bead. And also this is one place where the tweezers kind of shine as opposed to chain nose pliers. You can still do it with chain nose pliers, but the tweezers, because they're a fine tip, can get into the clamshell easier. Essentially what we're going to do is that same overhand knot and bring the needle end through the loop. And then we're going to try to get it to sit inside the clamshell. And so if you use chain nose pliers, let's just see what happens when I try mine. You can still do it. It actually still works pretty well for me here. See, but you just want to make sure you're getting in there, because if you have the knot any higher than this, then you're just going to end up with a little space like that before your clamshell. And even though it will still work, the cool thing would be to get that as close as you can without it being super, super tight, but not a lot of space. So I like to use the tweezers for that because it's easier for me to kind of really control where they go. So here's the next knot. Let's go through. Bring that through the loop. And again, we're going to get these tweezers through our loop here. And you're going to pinch the cord and just move those tweezers right down inside the clamshell. So here we've got our loop on the tweezers, and we've got our clamshell, and our tweezers are going to put that knot right inside. As your loop is coming down, so we're going to pull this. As that's happening, just make sure it doesn't coil around this part of the clamshell. That can happen really easily. Just try to help it get inside the center here. So that worked. And if you want, you can repeat that. Just having 2 knots in there can't hurt. And also we could have done that, that kind of surgeon's knot where we go through the loop twice. That would have worked too. Just getting that knot to sit inside there. Pull those apart. And one more time, I'm going to grab everything, this side and this side, and then just pull. Okay. So I'm almost done. I'm going to trim this side to be a little shorter, free my needle. And I'm going to grab glue. I didn't glue either of these sides yet. So a couple things you can do as you're thinking about gluing. So if you want to glue and then let it dry before closing the clamshell, you can do that. If you would like to get it all done right now, then it might be better to trim your tails first. And that way you can just glue everything, close that clamshell up, and the glue will glue inside clamshell. So that's kind of what I do, unless, you know, if I'm not in a hurry. If I have tons of time and I want to, you know, let it sit overnight, I can just do the glue now and just leave it like that and come back when the glue is dry and finish. But the other way, of course, is to just go ahead and trim as close as you can. Now I did 2 knots here, so I'm going to go right up next to that second knot. Back over here, I'm going to go. And one way you can kind of figure it out is hold it like this and take a look. Here's my knot. And I don't want to completely cut my knot, but I want to be under my clamshell so I don't have that stick out thing that happened in the last one. So I'm using the clamshell to kind of guide my scissors. So the tails are there, but they're not going to stick out of the clamshell when I close it. All right, and so let's get that glue on here. There's one side. And don't worry, you won't see it. And if you go light, it won't sploosh out on you. So there's that. And I might have got a little too much on there, so. And there we go. Actually, I'm going to use that to kind of get some down in the clamshell there. If you have a toothpick, I should have brought a toothpick up. Downstairs in my work area, I have a set of little like wooden things like that, you know, the end of a toothpick that has kind of like a more blunted side. And I sometimes use that to push around glue. There's lots of stuff you can do for that, but it's, I think it looks pretty good right now. And then so we need to close it. So to close it, hold the loop side and then just bring your tweezers under, sorry, chain nose pliers under and just tap it closed. Oop. Okay. There's one side done. And we do the same thing over here. And so the way I hold it when I'm closing these so that they don't close sideways, you know how they can kind of sandwich one way or the other, is just pinch that part right there. And then bring your tool to sit like right underneath it. And then you can just guide it closed. These are pretty strong, so you do need to use your pliers for these. There's some way you can close it with your hand. These are definitely a little stronger. And there you go. So once you've got that done, all you need is some round nose pliers. And I'll grab those really quick. You can do this with chain nose too, but if they're open like mine, some of the clamshell findings, some of them come with, like Wanda was saying, the loops already formed on them. And some of them you'll have to close the loop if they look like that. So if you already have one with a loop on it, you're done. You don't have to do this part. If you have something like mine, you just want to go through with your round nose, just bring it forward until it's closed. It'll make a little circle like that. Here's that other side. So I'm just rolling that little piece of metal forward. It's literally just like a little metal tab on there. And that's pretty much it. So then we just need to decide how we want to finish it. And some really pretty options. Lobster claw is what I'm going to use, but then I grabbed this to show in case you want to really level it up. You could use like a little toggle. And here's my last gold lobster claw. Got one left here. And so I grabbed 2 sizes of jump rings. Let me show you what I did on this one over here. This one has a mix of sizes because I made a little chain and I thought it looked really pretty. So it goes 4mm, 6mm, just to give it some depth. And over here, I used the 4mm to attach the lobster claw. So let's copy that with this one. Get the 6mm out. I need about. And actually, before I attach all these ends, I might want to get my glue started on my pearl dangle. So where did I put those? Here they are. So these are those little ball pin cup, I think is what it's called, or bail pin with cup. And so this has a little prong on it that you glue to your pearl. And I have 2 pearls left, so let's see. Which one do I want to be my dangle? Oh, that would make a cool dangle, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's do this one. And my glue's going to come back for just a second. And so it ended up just being kind of like on the tip of that little pin there, which is fine. It's going to get all splooshed down when I get my pearl on there. So let's just let that dry for a second. Wow, that's pretty. That would be cool in an earring, just hanging that from a chain. I think I need to get another strand of those. These are, in case anyone's loving these, I just found them. And they are, if you type in, if you're in the app, type in 105, oh, sorry, 10150682. So that would be 10150682. And that will get you these on the Michael's app. Okay, so we've got the pearl drawing and I'm getting my jump rings. 6mm lobster claw. And here's some 4mm. Chain nose. I need one more chain nose. Actually, I'm gonna grab my bent nose. Let's see, which end do I want to have most of my chain? So I think I'm gonna have my chain come down from this side, and this will be my lobster claw side. Do you guys always feel like the lobster claw goes on whatever's kind of the top? I don't know why I always do that, but it seems to be the way that looks good to me. I didn't quite get that close. Let me try harder. There we go. Okay, so that side is all set. And now I'm just going to make a chain. So I'm going to link a 4mm to a 6mm. Need one more 4mm. And if anyone's new to jump rings, all I'm doing here is just finding the seam and I'm opening them with a lateral motion so that I can close them right back up in a way that preserves that circular shape that they've got. And I need one more here. And let's find 6mm to 4mm. Make my chain a little longer. Okay, I need 1 more 4mm here, or 2 more actually. And at this point, I'm just having fun, just making it look extra special. You could even put like a little charm on it. So here's the, all right, here's my 6mm end. Let's put that here. There's one side, and then I meant to add that one all together, but didn't quite do it right. There we go. So now I've got a cute little chain. So it goes 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4. And at the end of that chain, when this is dry, I'll just open that up and put that on it. It will look real pretty. That is a very, very nice piece. I think this one is going to make a really great gift. Now I need to make a really pretty gift box for it. Yeah, that came out super, super nice.
Danielle, I wanted you to know on the sidebar, people really appreciate how informative this class was today.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I really think that you took the mystery out of pearl knotting, because not everyone's, not everyone has the good luck when they use the pearl knotting tools, or they're a little bit, your hands aren't working as well. And so I think this was amazing for a lot of people, a great eye opener.
Oh,
I did
thanks.
have one question. The new polyester wax thread, you're the first person that really got to play with it and use it. What did you think about it in terms of stretch?
It doesn't stretch at all. Yeah, there's no stretch to it. So if you're someone familiar with like the silk, one of the things that really like with working with the silk that was a challenge for me was the hanging it and stretching it overnight, or even for a couple of nights to get it to pre-stretch. Um, some of the instructions that I used to follow had you tying it to coffee mugs and hanging it over a door just to get
For
it
the
to
weight? Yeah.
for the weight. Yeah, you don't have to do that with this at all. This is open your package and start going. It's ready.
And then Danielle, because Emma didn't catch it, so you just put that bead cap on your final pearl.
Yeah.
And I don't think she realizes that cap already has a hole on it, and you're just going to need a jump ring to attach it.
Yeah, let me show you that. I think it's dry enough I could get away with doing that now. And then I have another pearl I can show gluing it again. We've got extra time. So I've got the, what I'm doing here is I'm just finding the seam because I did a really nice close job on that one. So let's find that seam and then open that up and see how it has that really nice little loop on it. And I'm just going to be a little gentle with it in case my glue is not totally dry. And that's all you got to do. And so I was being a little bit of a rebel when I used this glue to do my metal to the pearl. But pearls are so gentle, especially since this is a real pearl. And I know that this one doesn't burn fabric. It's designed not to. So I thought, well, that might be a really nice way to, but typically when you're gluing metal, you would use a different glue. You might use like a jeweler's glue, some kind of jeweler's glue. And so just noting that I'm being a little bit of a rebel using this kind here, but it's what I did on this other one. And I've been wearing this one and it's been fine. It didn't even come off at all. So I think we can get away with, using what we got on our mat, and it all still works out really nicely. But if you're somebody doing like serious selling, maybe invest in like a tube of the stuff that's designed for metals. So I can't remember what kind, I'm not a glue expert, but some of the ones that I've used are like E6 and things like that. All right, but I'm just using this really nice fabric glue. And that should do it. Okay. So I'm letting it be kind of globby there. because I know it's going to squish up and then it's going to fill the bottom of the cap and the top of the pearl. You get me a little extra glue. And this one splooshed out just a little bit. So I'm going to hold it like this, just wipe a little bit. There we go. And that one should be okay. That's a really fun way to finish and make a very fast, design. Like literally you could put a jump ring and an ear wire. And that would be very cool and a nice gift too. Compliment giving this bracelet. If you had, I just need one more pearl and then you can hang them next to each other.
Danielle, in the end, how long is this bracelet now?
Oh, let's bring out the tape measure here. And I made it adjustable, so I'm not sure what I'm doing with it yet. And so at the smallest, it's going to close at about 7 1/4. And so when I measure from that first jump ring, which is where you'd be linking to. And then I end my measurement on the round part of the lobster claw, which maybe whatever. Ends up being like right about there. So there's, let me try to get it back all in frame. From that one, which is my 4 mm jump ring, down to here. Yeah, so 7 1/4 is right here. So I could have left one pearl off and then it would be, if I did that, it would have been a little under 7, maybe like right there or so. But I
Appreciate it, Danielle.
Yeah.
With my wrist, I'm probably going to have to add 2 pearls.
No.
Yes.
And then this also, making this chain, I really recommend for sellers that you do that, because if somebody puts it on and they're like, oh, I don't want this long chain, bust out your tools, take a few links off for them. But if somebody puts it on and they like it, it'll fit right away, right? So I don't know, when I used to sell, I used to make them so that you can always adjust it in person on site. And you have the stuff there attached to it. So you don't have to carry every single jump ring you've used on every design you've ever made with you. It's just everything you might need to adjust that piece is here with that piece. And your tools are with you. And on the spot, you can make those adjustments, and people feel really special when you do that for them. But yeah, this came out really nice. I might just wear this today. I got a new piece of jewelry. I was loving this one. This one I've been wearing around pretty much like all week. I love it. And then I did get questions about this beautiful strand. This one, the other day I looked and I still had them in my store, but they don't come up online anymore. So I apologize, guys. The SKU for this in the handout, this was a strand that had 3. There were 3 like this, 1, 2, 3. But you might still find it if you look in your store. And even if you don't find this exact one, I saw a few others like it. They had other colors and stuff like that. So, and I bet you there's new stuff all the time. So definitely go check it out and see what you find. Because this one was really fun. And all I did was I just used exactly what was already here. And I just went back up and down. And this ended up being an 18-inch necklace. So a nice little collar length. Oh my goodness, how cool would this be? Check this out. Since I only have 1 pearl, I could put a 6 mm jump ring right there. Oh, let's do it. I've got one over here. It's gonna be so pretty. Okay, so I've got, we're doing
Danielle, you're making everyone go to the jewelry department.
I know, I'm a bad influence, guys. I really am.
But we do, for anyone who does participate in Christmas, I do think you gave everyone an amazing last minute gift concept.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And had I had this idea initially, I might have knotted it on there, but this is working out just fine. Bent nose pliers to the rescue. Ooh. Wow, this is so cool. And I would do an adjustable chain for this now. Would add a little bit more length on that one. I love this. Okay, had I had this idea first, this would have been the cover.
Yes, and as Christine pointed, the white pearls for winter solstice.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, definitely. And that's coming up next week, right?
It is.
So there's all the pieces that I made for, you know, for the demo and for class, and they were so pretty. I love that. So we still have a few minutes if anyone has any questions for me, or I can show the stuff that's coming up in January. Do you want to see that? Yeah. Okay, so for January, we've got, let's see. Our first class is this really pretty, oh, thanks, Felicia. Thank you. I've got this class coming up, and let me just bring it off of the card here. My little display card I made. So it's a right angle weave refresher. So this is the beginner stitch that we probably all know and love, but it has a little bit of a spin to it where I did a pattern with crystal. So this is all 4mm crystal, and these seed beads are 11 out. And the pattern is, it's really easy to do. I actually put in the handout the repeating, you know, cadence for you to follow there. And then I did something kind of fun with the jump rings there at the end. I did a double jump ring chain, which we've done before, but I thought it looked really neat on this. And then I'll show you guys how I did that little kind of like a lattice end. So that's the first January. And then the second class, this one. We're just going to be so glamorous next year. We're going to be sparkling everywhere. I love this one. This one came out really nice. I've been wearing these too, and they just look really fun. They're a nice shoulder length, and I'll show you guys how to make them shorter if you don't want them to be super, super long like this, but the long ones are really fun right now. And then last but not least, I've got a little bit more with the cord. So this one I used all 3 colors that are in store, and I just did a bunch of color changing. So we started up here with the white, went into natural, black, natural, and back to white, all in one swoop. So we'll do, and this is just basic square knot, but I'll show you guys how we did that. And all of these have a PDF you can download right now if you want to get a head start and a sneak peek at what's there. Oh, thanks, Gail. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I want to wish you guys a really great holiday break, and I'm going to miss you over the break. I love being here with you guys. So until then, lots of creativity, happy beading, and share your posts with us in hashtag John Bead, hashtag Make It with Michaels. And if you want to join our Facebook group, we always cheer each other on in there. So lots of love to you guys. Have a great holiday.